All right, now here's the move that trips people up every single time. They find the right house, the right place, the right floor plan, and the right size, and they make the move, and then 3 months later, the same budget, the same house, and the same Sacramento feel completely different because the house was fine, but the problem was the location.
Same budget, same type of home, completely different life. Depending on where you land in Sacramento, your commute, your school run, your grocery trips, your weekend, and how much you actually enjoy living here can be completely different. And most people don't figure that out until after they've already moved in.
All right, and we're gonna fix that today. We're gonna be breaking down the biggest Sacramento misconceptions, the 20-minute bubble rule that changes every search, where the city is actually heading, the real cost of living, the school boundary mistake that catches families off guard, and the honest trade-offs that nobody talks about. And we're saving the one thing for the very end that most Sacramento videos completely skip over. That one mistake can make the move feel harder than it ever needed to be, so stick with us because that one alone is worth the full watch.
Sacramento is one of those places that doesn't look complicated until you actually start making real decisions. Folsom, Roseville, Elk Grove, East Sac, Rockland, Natomas, Rancho Cordova. Online, everything looks super close. Then you actually drive it. The commute feels different, the school boundary matters, freeway access, shade, grocery runs, airport, and where you spend your weekends can completely change how much you actually enjoy living here.
Now, Sacramento has about 536,000 residents inside of the city limits, but the metro area feels much bigger once you start moving through it, and that's both an advantage and a challenge. Optionality is real here, but only if you organize the search in the right way. So in today's video, we're gonna be covering everything that you need to know when making the move to the Sacramento metro. Now, Sacramento still gets boxed into the same old reputation. Government town, a quick stop between the Bay Area and Lake Tahoe, or your backup plan when the Bay Area, Southern California, or heck, even Plan A just got a little bit too expensive. But once you spend a few days here, you start to realize that that perception of Sacramento is really outdated. You can grab brunch near Broadway, meet some friends in Midtown, spend the morning along the American River Parkway. You can head over to Folsom Lake if you want some open space. You can even go to Lake Tahoe in the morning and make it down to the Bay in the evening, and it can all happen in the same Saturday without turning into a major logistical event. Now, here's the biggest misconception that people get about Sacramento wrong. A lot of people think that Sacramento gives you only one lifestyle, and it doesn't. East Sacramento and West Roseville feel nothing alike. Folsom and Elk Grove, while they're similar, they solve completely different problems. Rockland and Land Park attract a totally different day-to-day routine. Granite Bay and El Dorado Hills play a higher space in the foothill adjacent game compared to the Midtowns, the Tahoe Parks, the Rancho Cordovas. Now, we just had a relocation call with one of you guys. We've been talking with you guys for about 6 months. The search is starting to get a little bit more serious and the timeframes are starting to compress a little bit more. So originally when we started to chat and when you guys originally worked out, you guys were gonna be working at a hospital along the 50 corridor. Now, a lot of the conversation for the last 6 months have been around Folsom or El Dorado Hills or Fair Oaks or Carmichael or Gold River, heck, even Rancho Cordova. A lot of that stuff over there makes a lot of sense, especially in the Folsom area. You get trails, lake access, the reputation of the schools, it all makes sense on paper. However, once we started talking through the new office location that kind of changed, one person got the opportunity to work remote, one person is gonna be working off of the 80 freeway, school drop-offs, weekend plans, airport runs when you guys wanna go on vacation, and what they actually wanted to do to spend their time during the week outside of work, the search started shifting from the 50 corridor to the 80 corridor. Now, Folsom did stay on their list, but places like Roseville, Rockland, Orangevale, Penryn, Loomis, Auburn, and even a couple of the closer in Sacramento options like Sacramento proper, Carmichael again, Fair Oaks, they all started to make a lot more sense of how they actually wanted to live. Now, East Sacramento, Folsom, Roseville, Rockland, Elk Grove, Rancho Cordova, Granite Bay, they're not just points on a map. Now they're gonna shape your routine. Each one of them are gonna have trade-offs. Your commute pattern is gonna be completely different depending on which area that you start to land in. And your weekend rhythm is gonna be completely different depending on if you go to the urban area of Sacramento or if you're going out east towards the suburbs. Now, when we chat with you guys on your first initial strategy call about your needs, your wants, your must-haves, your deal breakers, now we're gonna sort Sacramento down by your lifestyle first. So that way the map really starts to click with what you're trying to do or what you're wanting to do Monday through Friday, but also on Saturday and Sunday. Now, real quick, before we keep going, if this is your first time to the channel, we're Lance and Lauren with the Living in Sacramento team, where we make these videos all about what it's really like living, moving, and relocating to the Sacramento and surrounding suburbs. We help hundreds of families buy and sell homes right here in the greater Sacramento metro, and we absolutely love it when you guys reach out to us. We drop videos every single week so you have real boots on the ground info to make the best decision possible. Now, on top of making these videos, we're also licensed real estate agents in the state of California, which means that as much as we love making these videos, we actually love helping you more with all of your real estate needs. So that phone number is going to be popping up. We are the ones that answer every phone call, email, and text message. Or better yet, go ahead and scan that QR code to book your one-on-one strategy session so we can help put together the best game plan. Again, talk about those needs, wants, must-haves, and deal breakers, but the best game plan for you on making the move to the greater Sacramento metro. Now, if you're not quite ready to book that strategy session or reach out to us, there's also gonna be a real estate app that we created for you guys too. So that QR code is gonna be popping up right after the strategy session. Go ahead and scan that. You can download the app. That way you can kind of start searching. You can start getting an idea of what homes are available within your price point and your budget.
By the time we start planning a scouting trip with someone, the real work is narrowing the search from places that sound good to areas that actually fit your everyday week. We're talking places like Folsom, Roseville, Elk Grove, Rockland, maybe even El Dorado Hills, and that's a decent starting point. But better questions can change that short list real fast. Questions like, where are you gonna work? Which freeway corridor shapes your week? Do you need to be by Highway 50, I-80, Highway 65, I-5? Maybe you need to be by the airport side of town. Do you want foothill access, newer construction, closer in neighborhoods, or a tighter radius around work, school, errands, and the places your household uses every single week? Sacramento's biggest advantage is that there are so many options when it comes to location, but only if you organize the search the right way. We call it the 20-minute bubble. You've got home, work, school, your gym, going to the grocery store, taking the kids to the park, checking out a restaurant. You've got practices and the repeat stops that shape your week every single week. Now spread those pieces around the metro and Sacramento can feel frustrating real fast. Line them up and the whole move starts to make a lot more sense. One household may fit Old Folsom perfectly. Another may love West Roseville. Another may need Elk Grove. Someone else is better off in East Sac, Land Park, or Tahoe Park. You gotta stop asking what's the best Sacramento suburb and start asking which part of Sacramento gives my household the best week. This is so important to get right, and you can take it from us. We used to live in Lincoln and we had to commute into Granite Bay for schools and Rancho for work, and it was a complete nightmare. We spent so much time in the car that by the time we would get home, we were all tired and we didn't get to enjoy our home or where we were actually living. We focus so much on your location when you relocate here because we know how being in the wrong location for your needs can really affect your time spent with your family. Now, drop us a comment below and tell us which area or energy meets your vibe. Are you a city energy person? Are you looking for a family suburb? Maybe you want new construction, or maybe you want to be out in the foothills with lots of space, or maybe you're looking for the best value out there. Now, we read every single comment and we respond to all of them, so we would love to hear from you which might be the best fit for you.
Now, 90% of the time when we knock the area out of the park, when we hear from you guys after you've lived here for some time, it's gratitude, it's appreciation. Hey, Lance, Lauren, we absolutely love living here. Now, the other 10% of the time, it usually comes down to some type of frustration or something that we missed when we were figuring out the lifestyle that you wanted to live. Now, the Sacramento search gets a lot clearer and cleaner when you stop comparing city names and you start comparing the lifestyles. East Sacramento, Land Park, Curtis Park, Tahoe Park, and Midtown, all of those areas are closer to the core and the heart in the urban area of downtown Sacramento. They have older homes, established streets, shorter access to the center of the core of that city, especially if you're working downtown Sacramento, and you usually trade newer square footage for location. Now, places like Roseville, Folsom, and Elk Grove, now they function like full service suburbs. This is what I like to call our anchor cities, especially when we're talking about some of these cities. They aren't tiny bedroom communities. They have their own retail, medical offices, parks, sports complexes, restaurants, schools, and everyday errands built directly into them. Now, the nice thing about Folsom, Roseville, and Elk Grove is that if you didn't have to leave those three cities for work-related purposes, they have everything that you need. They're completely self-functioning. They have everything that you need, everything that you want. They have Costco's, they have Targets, they have schools and grocery stores, and they have specialty places and gyms, and they have everything. They have everything that you need. Now, as you push east towards the foothills, the conversation turns more into about space and being kind of out there in the middle of nowhere, distance, You still have amenities in some of these places, but then you kind of lean towards, you know, kind of neighboring cities. So if you're not in Roseville, Folsom, or Elk Grove, you're gonna probably lean on those cities for some of the services and some of the amenities, right? So not everywhere has a Costco, but a lot of places have a Costco. Granite Bay, Rockland, El Dorado Hills, Loomis, Auburn. You get a little bit more separation, you get a little bit more custom and luxury homes, larger lots on certain pockets, foothill access, easy to get into kind of the nature of Northern California, the Sierra Nevadas, and you get that kind of overall slower pace. Now, Carmichael, Fair Oaks, Orangeville, Rancho Cordova, those are gonna be a little bit more street to street. The right pocket can give you bigger yards, older housing stock, some update potential, some equity kind of built in. Some of the homes are gonna have river access nearby, or you're gonna have stronger positioning along Highway 50. West Roseville, Lincoln, Natomas, Folsom Ranch, South Rancho Cordova, those are gonna all fall into the newer build categories. Newer homes, builder activities, master plan communities, newer roads, and the amenities that start to fill in maybe 10 to 15 years later. So this is where we tell you, you know, especially if you can nail the category first, your search gets a lot cleaner very fast. So closer in access, full service suburbs, foothill spaces, established value, newer growth, they all are gonna have their pros and their cons. They're all gonna have different things that you may like or may not like, but the floor plan will matter, but Sacramento usually wins people over through the lifestyle around it. So that's going to be the biggest thing that you're gonna want to focus on when you're looking at different things that it relates to. Like, the home is important. A lot of these areas have nice homes, beautiful homes. Obviously your budget and some of the needs, wants, and must-haves are gonna be a factor, but the biggest thing that we tell you is like lifestyle, right? Commute. Lauren mentioned it a little bit earlier in the video. We used to live in Lincoln and our life took us to Rancho Cordova or downtown Sacramento, especially before we were in real estate, we had to, you know, commute into work. And it sucks. You know, you're spending all your time in your car, you're listening to audiobooks, you're away from your family. And that's one of the things that we always try to talk to you about when we're on those strategy session calls, is the fact that, you know, you're in a brand new area. So you're not gonna know a ton of people. You'll know us and you'll know some other of our YouTube clients that we do when we do these client appreciation parties. But it's definitely one of those things that, you know, it's a newer environment. So if you're having to spend all of your time in the car, away from your family, away from your kids, it's just not gonna be as fun. It's not gonna be as ideal of a situation. One person may be at home, the other person is gonna be at work, or vice versa. So, you know, it's one of those things that spending as little amount of time in your car as possible, but also trading off and spending that time with your family is gonna be uber important.
Sacramento starts winning people over when a normal plan doesn't take over the entire day. You can grab dinner on our street, walk through the ice blocks, spend an hour at the Crocker Art Museum, or cross into West Sacramento for Drake's The Barn without turning a normal night out into a massive production. Saturday morning can feel simple too. You've got the Midtown Farmers Market, which takes over 5 city blocks and over 200 plus vendors and feels more like a real weekly event than a pop-up with a few tents. The weather helps too. Sacramento gets more than 230 days of sunshine a year. You'll feel that across the region with patios on our street, farmers market mornings, golf before the heat kicks up, outdoor concerts, river time when the weather cooperates. You can also keep it low-key, close to home, head into the grid for more energy, or jump over to West Sacramento for a change of pace without losing your entire day to one outing. Now, a lot of people who relocate here come for space, price, or just a better fit. But after a few weekends, the surprise is how naturally Sacramento fits into a normal routine. And the city itself is changing faster than most people even realize.
Now, Sacramento Center isn't just adding projects, it's becoming more useful. For years, a lot of the attention went to the edges or the outskirts of the Sacramento Metro, like places like Roseville, Folsom, Elk Grove, Rockland, Lincoln. All of the newer growth corridors, specifically where we've talked about in the past, like where the newer construction is, and all of those areas still matter. Now, the middle of the Sacramento Metro is getting reworked in a way that a lot of people didn't anticipate. Downtown, Midtown, the Med Center side, West Sacramento, and all the neighborhoods nearby. The rail yards gets the biggest spotlight just north of downtown Sacramento. It's a 244-acre mixed-use, transit-oriented development right along the old Union Pacific site. You've got housing, office space, retail, hotels, transit transit, entertainment, all built into this plan. At full build out, the rail yards is going to be a major extension of downtown Sacramento, something that we haven't seen since Golden 1, which means the center of the region could have more housing, more places to work, more entertainment, more reasons for people to spend time instead of just passing through it. So it's a big revitalization coming to the downtown area. Golden 1 Center was huge. The rail yards is going to be equally as big. Now near Oak Park, we're gonna have Aggie Square, which is gonna be that giant, big, beautiful building behind me. And Aggie Square is gonna add another major layer. Now UC Davis opened the $1.1 billion innovation district in 2025. Next to UC Davis Health, you're gonna have things like labs, classroom, housing, research space, and private paid partnerships. Now, that doesn't mean that every nearby home automatically becomes a slam dunk investment, but it does change the conversations for all the homes around the med center side of town. More jobs, more students, more research activity, more daily involvement. So across the river from Sacramento, we're gonna have the Bridge District, which is gonna be in West Sacramento. That one's gonna be planned for over 5,200 residential units. You're also gonna have commercial space there, public areas along the river. It's gonna be a great spot for that former industrial land that's being turned into something more productive than just industrial land, food, housing, riverfront activity. We're getting a lot of different projects that's going to make Sacramento a lot more desirability. Instead of just being a pass-through town, it's going to be a destination place. Now, West Sacramento isn't just going to be that little town that's going to be across the river. Certain pockets are becoming a part of the actual central Sacramento lifestyle conversation. So the older version of Sacramento is kind of aging out in real time. So West Sacramento and Sacramento are starting to blend in a lot because you can be in that spot where you can go to Drake's, you can go to a River Cats game, and then you can cross over the Tower Bridge and you're in downtown Sacramento for work, for whatever. So some of those areas that are kind of in that West Sacramento area are going to be, you know, a great place, especially if you want short commute, close proximity to downtown Sacramento. Now, before we keep going, go ahead and drop a comment down below. Tell us which type of Sacramento community you're most curious about. Folsom, Roseville, Elk Grove, East Sacramento, Rockland, Land Park. We read every single one and it actually helps us make better videos for you guys because let me be entirely honest, the next section of this video is where a lot of people actually get themselves into trouble, and that's gonna be new construction. The model homes look incredible, the sales offices all feel polished, the floor plans always check every box, but the real numbers can surprise you when you start diving into the deep dives.
Model homes are designed to make you fall in love before you slow down and look at the real numbers. Now, new construction around Sacramento can be super exciting, but the reality is more layered than the sales office makes it feel. You may drive through a neighborhood and see finished homes on one street, framing crews on the next, dirt lots around the corner, and a future retail sign that still does nothing for your grocery run today or even 2 years from your move-in date. And Folsom Ranch is a great example. South of Highway 50, you get the newer home side of Folsom with modern floor plans, foothill access, planned parks, school sites, and builder phases still filling in over time. For example, if you live in Folsom Ranch right now, you have access to a small strip mall with a Starbucks, a Slice House Pizza, a bento box, a Habit Grill, and a veterinary office. You also have elementary schools, but for middle school or high school, you're gonna have to drive across the freeway to the other side of town because those schools are slated to be built later in the Folsom Ranch side. Now, you also have to drive across the freeway to get groceries and other major amenities. Now, I'm not saying that any of this should be a deal breaker, but it's definitely a good thing to know if you plan to live there. Eventually, all of these amenities will be built out on the south side, but for now, you'll have to drive for a few things. Now, South Rancho Cordova around Rio del Oro is another major growth corridor. Roughly 11,600 dwelling units are going to be planned for that area, plus commercial, educational, recreation, and employment space. That stretch of Highway 50 could eventually play a much bigger role in the region. Now, up north near Roseville, Placer 1 adds even more scale, with roughly 2,200 acres with residential neighborhoods, business space planned for the future, retail, and a planned university village tied to Sacramento State and Sierra College. Now, a new home can solve a lot of problems: maintenance, layout, energy efficiency, and you don't have to deal with old home repairs. But the floor plan is only one part of the decision. Before the model home pulls you in too far, zoom out and check the real cost of living there. We're talking Mellore's, HOA fees, insurance, utilities, solar, property taxes, lot premiums. Think about construction noise, school timing, the retail lag time to get to grocery access, and also driving through roads that are unfinished. And you're gonna wanna do all these drives at the hours that you'd actually be in your car doing them. Now, also ask yourself how you feel about living through the next 5 to 10 years of growth while the entire community fills in around you. Now, some people love getting in early. Others get frustrated when shade, roads, shopping, and nearby services still need time to mature.
Now, Sacramento isn't cheap, but you definitely have to be strategic if you're thinking about moving to the Sacramento metro. Redfin had Sacramento City's median sale price around $500,000 in early 2026 of this year. Now, San Francisco was around 1.7 million. So somebody coming from the Bay Area may look at Sacramento and feel like the numbers finally open up a lot more options. Even when you're coming up from the Bay Area, things start to look really appealing. More square footage, a yard, a newer floor plan, a suburb that felt out of reach when you're closer to the Bay or in Southern California. Now, the trick is if you come from Texas or Idaho, Florida, or the Carolinas, Sacramento may not feel like a discount at all. So, especially after all the monthly numbers come into focus, the purchase price is only one piece of the monthly reality. You're gonna have things like insurance, utilities, gas, grocery, property taxes, HOA fees, and potentially for Melrose if you move into a new construction area. Those are all going to affect your monthly payment. The cost of living numbers explain why the reactions vary so much. You know, Sacramento does sit 24% above the national average and roughly 4% below the California average, right? So for a lot of people in state, you know, it's a bargain. For a lot of people coming from out of state, sometimes the numbers don't necessarily add up. So Sacramento can definitely feel expensive compared to much of the country, but it still offers a stronger value than several major California markets. So I tell a lot of people, I joke around with a lot of people, Sacramento is kind of like the last frontier of, you know, where people will move to before they move out of California if they're trying to save money. So now Proposition 13 generally limits annual assessed value increases, so that's kind of a nice thing. Property taxes don't just increase because of assessed values, they increase no more than 2% of whatever you purchase the home at. Now you do have bonds, assessments, Melrose, and local charges that can still affect your final tax bill. Now the biggest question is whether the mortgage, the taxes, the insurance, the utilities, HOA, Melrose, and all of the other everyday costs still work after the excitement of your purchase wears off. So this is one of those things where we always want to make sure that we're talking about your budget, we're talking about what you're comfortable with. We don't want to put you into a home that you're not comfortable with, but you know, Sacramento can still feel like a good value when the monthly numbers give you breathing room. You can still go enjoy all of the amazing things that are around the area, Napa, Lake Tahoe, San Francisco, but you don't want to make a move without having factored in all those numbers.
For families with school-age kids, this next layer isn't just about the district name. It's about the exact assigned campus and how that campus fits your weekly routine. School ratings are just a starting point, and they should never be the finish line. In Sacramento, a few streets can change the assignment altogether. Elk Grove Unified is massive with over 6,500 students covering roughly 320 square miles. Saying we want Elk Grove schools still needs to be checked property by property. While Elk Grove Unified is an amazing school district known for quality schools with good ratings, not all schools in the district compare the same for academics or sports. So you can't just blanket statement a district. You need to focus on what's important to you in a school. And this is where we help. We know all the school districts in the greater Sacramento metro very well. We can help make sure you land in an area that will best fit whatever your kiddo actually needs in school. Maybe they're into sports, maybe they want advanced placement classes, or maybe it's a career pathway program. Not all the schools offer the same thing, so it's good to work with someone who knows the schools. Now, this same rule applies everywhere. Folsom Cordova Unified serves about 22,000 students. Rockland Unified serves about 11,600, and the exact property enrollment rules and transfer process need to be confirmed before you make any assumptions. Two homes can sit a few streets apart and feed into completely different schools or even different school districts. Now, one property may line up with the school you researched, and the other might change the pickup window, after-school options, childcare plan, commute pattern, or sports field location entirely. So you're going to want to pull the district map, call the district office, confirm the assigned campuses. Ask about enrollment rules, transfer policies, childcare options, after-school programs before you assume that a home fits your plan. Now, the practical pieces matter too. Are practice fields close to home? Are you crossing a freeway at pickup? Does the school route still work with your commute? Sacramento gives families plenty of workable options, but the property needs to match the campus map, pickup window, childcare plan, and after-school radius. So you're going to want to verify that piece very early to make sure you don't land in the wrong area. Now, the rest of the search gets a lot less stressful when you're working with us.
All right, now before we get into the honest trade-offs, if you're watching this and Sacramento is starting to feel real, don't try to piece this whole thing together alone. There's a big difference between researching Sacramento online and having a real game plan that's built around your budget, your commute, your schools, and what you actually need.
That's what we help with every week. Call us, text us, email us, scan the QR code, and book a strategy call, whether you're a few weeks weeks out or still in early research mode, we'll help you build a game plan and make the move happen.
All right, now here's the mistake that we said we'd come back to. A bad location choice in Sacramento rarely feels obvious on the day that you tour the house. It shows up months into when you actually live there. After you realize every office day, the school drop-offs, the airport runs, practice, grocery trip, weekend plans, they all depend on a certain freeway corridor and you didn't test it properly.
The map makes distances look harmless. Folsom sits off Highway 50, Roseville ties into I-80 and Highway 65, Elk Grove runs through 99 and I-5, Rancho Cordova sits along 50, then you've got Natomas, which gives you quicker access to I-5 and the airport. Sacramento County's average commute is about 27 minutes, but the average only tells you part of the story. A short East Sac or Midtown drive feels nothing like crossing Elk Grove to Roseville or trying to get from El Dorado Hills to the airport during the wrong window.
The corridor matters more than the mileage. Folsom to downtown can be manageable for the right household. Folsom to the airport plays a little bit differently. Elk Grove to Midtown may work out fine, but Elk Grove to Roseville can turn into an absolute nightmare if your schedule hits the wrong traffic pattern. Now keep in mind that Sacramento doesn't have a true loop freeway system around the metro like a lot of bigger metros like Houston or Dallas. You're usually moving through corridors and not around them. So if you have to go into downtown Sacramento and then come back out, it usually makes it for a big nightmare.
Bring the 20-minute bubble back into the decision here. Check the routes you repeat every single week. Work, school, drop-off, practice fields, freeway ramps, grocery runs, and airport access. Don't test the drive at noon just because the roads look clear. Test it when your schedule would actually put you in the car. Run the route, check the ramps, see how the area moves when it actually matters.
And then there are the honest trade-offs that every part of Sacramento carries. Older neighborhoods usually have bigger trees, established streets, character, community, and a stronger access to the city's core. But that house may need more attention like roofs, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, older layouts, all part of the conversation.
Newer areas, cleaner floor plans, better energy efficiency, newer systems. But shade, retail, roads, and nearby services may still need time to mature. Heat is worth real attention to. Sacramento's July average high is around 93 degrees. Shade is not just a nice bonus, it changes how a street feels, how a yard feels, and how much you actually want to be outside in the summer. The city of Sacramento puts current tree canopy at about 19%. A shaded street in East Sac or Land Park can feel nothing like a newer section where the trees still need time to grow.
Now, Sacramento is easy to like when you choose it with eyes wide open. Don't choose Sacramento from a listing photo or a Zillow link. Drive the commute, walk the streets, check the shade, look at the roads. Heck, I always tell people, go test a grocery run. Go walk through the grocery store that's nearest to the house that you're thinking about and kind of scope out the people that are in there shopping. Pay attention to whether the location feels settled or it's still in progress. The perfect area doesn't exist. The win is knowing what you're accepting before it turns into a daily frustration.
Sacramento starts making a lot more sense when the area, commute, budget, schools, and local amenities actually line up. Yeah, the house matters, but which side of the metro you're on shapes your daily life. Don't start with the house. Start with the side of Sacramento that actually fits how you're going to live.
So if you're thinking about making the move to Sacramento, selling here, or you're trying to narrow down the right area before you start house hunting, call us, text us, or email us. We absolutely love when you guys reach out to us. Our info is going to be down in the description and pinned in the chat. And if you're not ready, that's completely fine too.
A lot of the families we help spend weeks or months learning about Sacramento before they ever reach out to us, and that's totally normal. Keep doing your research right here on the channel. The playlist on the screen right now goes deeper on the exact communities we talked about today: Folsom, Roseville, Elk Grove, Rockland, East Sac, Granite Bay, and the surrounding suburbs.
We've got neighborhood community tours, neighborhood breakdowns, home tours, relocation guides, cost of living videos, and everything that you need to paint a full and true picture of what life actually looks like out here. So go ahead and check out that playlist and we'll see you on the next one.